I will move according to the points. So I will discuss these points in today's session. These are very basic concepts, and if we understand these concepts, it will be very easy for us to plan our research paper. Okay, so 8 points we will discuss today. All the 8 points are very basic points, but if you don't know all these points, it is very difficult to go further. So point number one. So there is some terminology with the smart PLS or structural equation modeling. We frequently use the word construct and the item. So we have to understand what is the meaning of the construct and what is the meaning of the item. In research, there are many variables which you cannot measure with single statement. Like whenever we measure the feedback of a faculty, we never ask that what is the feedback of the faculty, rate it 1 to 5. Is it possible to measure the feedback of a faculty in one line? The answer is no. Why? Because feedback, whenever we want to measure the feedback of faculty, we have at least 5 questions, 6 questions, 10 questions in the questionnaire, and the respondent have to tick on the items. So what is the meaning of the item? Item are the statement in the questionnaire. So I'm giving you example of the teacher's feedback because every one of you have filled that. If I show you this page, in this page, the financial attitude is a very broad concept. And financial attitude cannot be measured by one statement. So we are using how many statements to measure the financial attitude? 5. So you have seen these kind of questionnaires many times. So in this table, we can say that financial attitude is a construct, and there are 5 statements we are using to measure this construct. These 5 statements are known as items. So in almost every research study, there are many constructs, because when we write a paper, we normally take the name of the construct, we never take the name of the items, like impact of financial literacy on financial well-being, impact of some organization culture on sustainable performance. So all these words are basically the constructs. So whatever comes in the title or the hypothesis or the objective, they are basically the constructs. So constructs are the broad concepts. So these constructs are not measured by single statement. These constructs are measured by the statements, many statements. So these many statements are known as item. And in PLS terminology, we are representing the construct by this diagram. So in this diagram, this blue circle representing the construct. The name of the construct is perceived work quality. So this is the name of the construct. And the perceived work quality is measured by 6 items. So PWQ1, PWQ2, PWQ3, like this. So whatever you see in this yellow box, these are known as item code. So PWQ1 and up to 6. So we are using the 6 item codes, and each item code is representing the statement, right? So this is the diagram of a construct. In PLS, we are having many constructs. We can analyze the relationship between these constructs. Some of the relationships are direct relationship, moderating relationship, mediating relationship. So there are different kind of relationship which we can study with the help of this PLS software. The construct are also known as latent variables, unobserved variables, latent variables. Why they are latent variables? Because they cannot be measured directly. They cannot be measured directly, like service quality, brand loyalty, So all these are the latent constructs. They cannot be measured directly, and they are represented by the ellipses or circles, but you can make them ellipses too. And the items are represented by the rectangles. So all these yellow are rectangles, and they are representing the items. They are representing the items. So this is the basic difference between constructs and the items. And in the next slide, I already show you this, that financial attitude is the construct. It is measured with the help of 5 items, and these items are measured in 5-point Likert scale. 5-point Likert scale. So this is the way we define the items and the constructs. Okay. So what is the construct? Construct can be defined as the unobservable or latent factor that are represented by multiple variable means items. Okay. Now in this case, if you see this diagram carefully, in this diagram we are having how many constructs? 5. Performance expectancy is construct number 1. Effort expectancy is construct number 2. Social influence, facilitating conditions, and behavioral intentions. So there are in total 5 constructs. And we are identifying the relationship between the constructs. So we are using different constructs in the model. So whenever you see this kind of model, it is just simply the relationship between the different constructs. We are having the dependent construct here. Behavioral intention is the dependent construct. In dependent construct is also known as endogenous construct. And independent constructs, like in this diagram, we are having the 4 independent constructs. So these independent constructs are known as exogenous construct. So we use the term exogenous and endogenous in this SAM model, because whenever you report the result in the paper, don't write dependent and independent. You can write endogenous and exogenous. So where endo means the dependent, exo means independent. In this diagram, you can see the arrows. There are 2 types of arrows in this diagram. This is arrow 1, arrow 2, arrow 3, arrow 4, and these are 3 arrows. Some arrows here also. So I divide these arrows into 2 categories. Arrow which joins the blue circles, or in simple language, I can say the arrows which are joining the construct. So they emerges from one construct and the joining the other constructs. So these are the long arrows. So these arrows is known as inner model. The long arrows between the blue circles, this section is known as inner model. And whatever comes on these values are known as path coefficient. Whenever we analyze them, software gives us values. So the values which comes over these lines are known as path coefficient. And the arrows which are combining the blue circles and the yellow diagrams, these arrows are known as outer model. So the outer model. And outer model is representing the relationship between the items and the construct. The relationship between the items and the construct can be expressed by the values which are known as construct loadings. So construct loadings is the term which we are using to explain the relationship between the yellow items and the blue means the statement and the construct. So in this way, we can develop the basic models. Now I hope our first point is clear. So our first point is that, so what is a construct and what is the item? So now, because our point is clear, so if you have any doubt, you can put in the chat box. So I will answer if you have any query related to the items and the constructs. So no query is coming. It means it is clear that what is the difference between an item and a construct. Now the second point is that there are two types of construct: reflective and formative. And one of the reason why we are using SAM PLS, Smart PLS software, is because of the nature of the construct. So the nature of the construct is very, very important. There are two types of constructs: formative and reflective. If you see this construct, the direction of the arrow is from yellow to blue. The direction of the arrow is from the statement to the construct. In second case, in perceived work quality, the direction of the arrows is from the blue to the yellow. So yellow to blue, blue to yellow. Because of this direction of the arrow, we are giving two different names, right? So whenever the arrow emerges from the statement to the construct, this is called formative construct. And whenever the arrows are coming from the blue and joining the yellow rectangles, this is known as the reflective construct. Now we have to understand the difference between what is the reason of these different arrows, right? Let me ask you a very simple question: that why you are happy today? Why you are happy today? So you can tell me many reasons. That my paper was published, I got an increment from the salary, right? So there could be many reasons of the happiness. So we can write these reasons like this. So reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, and reason 4. So this is called happiness. Reason 1 may be related to the money. Reason 2 may be related to the achievements. Reason 3 may be related to the social interaction or personal. So there are many reasons of happiness, right? So basically, happiness depends upon the reason. So this kind of theory is called formative theory. Like if I ask you why you are stressed today, or from where the stress comes. If I ask that from where the stress comes. So normally stress is coming from the money problem, the work problem, the family problem, the health problem. So these are the different problems which can give you the stress. So stress is the outcome. And all these values are basically the reasons, the input variables. Because of them, the stress may come. So this is known as formative construct. Now, I am telling you some of the formative construct which I have seen actually in the research. The most popular formative construct I have seen is financial literacy. So financial literacy is a very popular construct, and financial literacy is coming from 3 different sources. One is the knowledge, second is the attitude, and third is the behavior. Although these are the construct, but these are formative construct. So financial literacy is coming from the three sources. So financial literacy is a formative construct. Another formative construct which I have seen in the literature is digital marketing. Digital marketing, there are different types of digital marketing like website, mobiles, SEO. So there are many components of digital marketing like this. So digital marketing is, I have seen in one of the paper, it is a formative construct. So these are the formative constructs. If you know the how to recognize that the construct is a formative construct. One of the important source is the literature. Literature can tell you whether this construct is formative or reflective. So literature is the major source to understand whether the construct is formative or reflective. Otherwise, we are having a test. This test is known as CTA. CTA stands for confirmatory tetrad analysis. So I will the full form of CTA is confirmatory tetrad analysis. So in PLS software, we are having this facility also to identify whether the construct is a formative or reflective. So this analysis will help us also. So I hope you have clarity that what is the meaning of a formative construct. When the construct is the output and depends upon the statement, then it is a formative construct. On the other side, we are having the reflective construct. Now, same thing I'm asking you. When you are feeling happy, how you express your happiness? So now you are already happy. In previous case, I was asking that why you are happy, the reasons of happiness. But now I'm asking you, you are already happy. Now what you are doing, how you are expressing your happiness. So you can say that I start dancing, I eat more, party, too much, talk, right? So this is just a simple expression that whenever the people are happy, they can do all these things, right? And normally, whenever anybody is happy, so he may do all the things. So this is the kind of reflective construct. So here the items are reflecting the construct. The items are reflecting the construct. Similarly, if I ask you, when you are in heavy stress, suppose you are in heavy stress. In earlier example, I asked you why you are feeling stress. So I am asking you the reason of stress. But now I am asking you that you are already in stress. How I can recognize that you are in stress, or what are the symptoms of stress? Simply. So what are the different symptoms of stress? So number one, high blood pressure. Normally, whenever somebody is in high level of stress, the blood pressure shoots up. Then one of the symptoms I found that the anxiety level increases. Then I also found the frustration level increases. So these are some of the reasons of, not reasons, some of the outcomes. High blood pressure, high anxiety, high frustration. So these are the outcome of stress. So I think I explained you the very simple examples that what is the difference between formative and reflective. Now practically I can tell you the different name of the construct which I have seen. They are reflective. Service quality is a reflective construct. The employee engagement is reflective construct, and theory of TPB, in theory of planned behavior, all the constructs are reflective. In UAT theory or a TAM theory, all the constructs are reflective. So brand loyalty is reflective. Organization culture is reflective. Organization commitment is reflective. Organization stress is reflective. Work-life balance is reflective. So in fact, 90% of the constructs in the literature are reflective. So coming back to the slide, now I hope you are having a clear-cut differentiation between the formative and reflective. So in formative, the construct is the result of different items. In reflective, the statement are the result of the construct. So in this way, we define the formative and reflective construct. Now I'm going to tell you a very, very important point that which also differentiate between a formative and reflective construct. So listen them very carefully. Suppose I'm asking you, so what is the reason of the stress? In literature, we found that there are four basic reasons of the stress: money problem, family problem, health problem, and work problem. So most of the problems are related to the four things. Right. Now my question is it necessary to have all the problems to be in stress, or any one problem is sufficient? Right. So think on this. Is it necessary to have all the problems to have stress, or only one single problem is sufficient? And I answer is, even if you have only one problem, you may have stress. So what is the outcome of this concept? The outcome of this concept is the statement may not have very high relationship in between. In a formative construct, I repeat, in a formative construct, high correlation may not exist because all reasons are not required to have stress. So what is the general conclusion for that? So the general conclusion is that the statement in formative constructs are not highly correlated. But when I talk to a reflective construct, high correlation is required between the statements. Why? Because if you are happy, you will do all the things. If you are stressed, you have anxiety, you have frustration, you have high blood pressure, all the three outcome will come. So if in a reflective construct, the correlation between the items is very, very important, and it is one of the necessary condition that should be there in a reflective construct. So let me write in this way. This is a formative construct, and this is a reflective construct. So I say that the correlation between the items is less. So let me write here, correlation between items is less. But in reflective construct, this is reflective and this is formative. In a reflective construct, the correlation between items is high. So how much high? Greater than 0.7. So the correlation between the items in a reflective construct must be, not should be, must be very, very high. And the average correlation is 0.7. So the correlation between the construct with the items in a reflective construct must be greater than 0.7. So this is the condition that we have to check. So correlation is one of the another reason which can explain the theoretical concept, whether it is a formative or it is a reflective. Okay. So you can put your doubt in the chat box, and after the session we are having around 1 hour discussion. So there we can discuss the problems. Okay. So try to understand the basic difference between them. Now, I think we are having clarity on the formative and reflective constructs. So in reflective measurement theory, the construct causes the measured indicator items. In a formative, the indicator items causes the construct. So this is the thing which I already explained. So just see this slide also. So which construct is this, reflective or formative? So let's say this is construct X, this is construct Y. Can you tell me which construct is this, formative or reflective? Which construct is this, reflective or formative? So yeah, most of you are answering the right answer. Yeah. So I hope by looking at the diagram, you can clearly identify that whether the construct is reflective or formative. So I think the concept is clear. Now there are some basic differences between the reflective and formative construct. So I'm writing all the differences here. Just so first thing is clear. The first point, causal priority, is clear. In reflecting, the construct is having the impact on items. Items are the dependent and construct is the independent. In formative, the items are the dependent and construct is independent. However, in formative, and I speak opposite. In formative, the construct is dependent, item are independent. In reflective, the items are dependent, construct is independent. So this is the way we differentiate between the two. And so another thing is that internal consistency. Internal consistency means correlation. The correlation is very high in reflective. In formative, it is very less. So internal consistency is a kind of reliability which is measured by Cronbach alpha. You know, I hope you heard about the concept of Cronbach alpha. So whenever you measure the Cronbach alpha of a reflective construct and a formative construct, the formative construct Cronbach alpha is always lower. The Cronbach alpha of reflective construct is always higher, more than 0.7. So this is another difference. Correlations I already explained. Identification. Now the identification means how many items must be there in the formative and reflective construct. So identification is basically the number of items. How many number of statements should be there in a reflective construct, in a formative construct. In a reflective construct, we follow a thumb rule. So what is the thumb rule? That at least 3 statement should be there in a reflective construct. In formative, no, there is no rule. You may have 2, 3, 5, any number. So the identification means how many statement should be there in reflective and formative construct. In reflective, you must have at least 3. In formative, no number. Okay, error terms we are not using in PLS, so this point is very important in the AMOS, but we are not considering AMOS. The answer is very simple. I'm telling you. Error terms. What is the concept of error term? Error term is the difference between predicted value and the actual value of dependent variable. So how we define the error terms? Error term is the difference between actual value and the predicted value of dependent variable. Now, if I ask you, so in formative construct, what is the dependent variable? Answer is the construct. So error term is coming here, right? In a reflective construct, the dependent variable are the items. So errors are coming here. So this is the basic difference between formative and reflective construct. So in error terms, in reflective are at item level, in formative at construct level. So if you want to examine the predictive accuracy, so in formative construct, it is for the construct, and for statement in reflective. Okay. So I think we will discuss slowly and slowly. Now, up to this level, you must understand what is the difference between formative and reflective. For example, if we consider the stress, reflective measure means when you are having the stress, how it reflects by blood pressure, all these things, nervousness, frustration. Formative means from where it is coming. So whenever I say the stress as formative, it means I'm asking that from where it comes. Like it comes from difficult boss, troubled home, medical condition, like that. That. So this is formative. Now the question is, many students ask me, how we decide whether the construct is formative or reflective? How we decide that? So I always say, because they are the theory. So we are defining the theory. So they must come from the theory or the literature support. So there are many theories which we are using in daily life, like theory of planned behavior, theory of reason action, right? Cognitive theory, UTAT theory, STEM theory. So first of all, we have to check the theory. So whether in the theory they are reflective or formative, we can find out from the literature. You must have some literature support whenever you are using the construct in the paper. So number one, and the most important is actually what the theory says about the construct. Like financial literacy, everybody say that it is a formative, so we can take it formative. Now, in some cases, there is a confusion, like service quality. Many researchers argue that it is a formative, and many researchers say that it is reflective. There are many papers where service quality is a formative, and there are more than 80% papers are considered is as a reflective. So here is a confusion. So then you can check the correlation between the items. If correlation is very high, reflective. If correlation is very less, formative. So the confirmatory tetrad analysis, this is one of the technique which we are using in the smart PLS. The confirmatory tetrad analysis work on the correlation basis. So CTA technique examine the correlation between the items. If correlation is very high, the CTA say that, the technique say that it is a reflective. And when the correlation between the constructs are less, then the software tells us that it is a formative. So there are only two things which tells you whether the construct is a formative or a reflective. The answer is the theory and the test. We don't have any other method of examining whether the construct is a formative or reflective. First is the theory and second is the test. CTA, the name of the test is confirmatory tetrad analysis. And I have seen this test in many papers and theses also. So I will also demonstrate you how to report the CTA. So now I hope we are having the answer that how we define that whether the construct is formative or reflective. So I think we have discussed much about formative and reflective construct, and you must have clarity. Yeah, no query in the chat box. So it means most of you have clarity between formative and reflective construct. Now I am telling you the concept which I know that 90% of the people don't have clarity on that. The order of the construct. Even I was confused for many years on this. So now we are going to discuss zero order, first order, and the second order construct. So how we define that whether the construct is a zero order, whether the construct is a first order or the second order. So the single construct, you can see it is a single construct, is always zero order. Remember that the single construct